Hello, everybody, and welcome to Nebula Jazz. It's episode number 6 of season number 2, which is part 20-something, 4, I think. And hello, welcome. Hi, friends. How are you?
Oh, wow. Doing good.
It's good. I'm glad your computer didn't self-destruct there, Dodger. Good work. Good work.
Oh my God. Yeah. I'm glad that it restarted quickly because at first it just didn't want to restart at all. And I was like, okay.
I would also really like to welcome you back from your time in friendship jail.
Thank you.
So thank you for joining us so soon after your time on the inside.
They honestly
how do you feel about being released into the world? Are you feeling okay? Have things changed since you went in to friendship jail?
I feel like I have a better grasp on how to be a better friend, you know?
Right, so you feel like you've been rehabilitated by the process.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, my parole officer is very nice, so.
Right, as they often are in friendship jail.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I don't have any context whatsoever, except for maybe there was some vandalism, and I saw you getting thrown in friendship jail. Can you explain?
Do you want me to explain, or
please,
do you want it to just? Okay.
I mean, I would love it. I would love to know what's up.
Octopimp and I spent about 12 hours together building a Lego Big Ben.
Nice.
And I went to move it because it was sitting in the center of my room, and I was like, really, this is a dangerous place to have this. So I went to move it, and I broke part of it. But you know, it's Legos; they can be fixed easily. But it got back to Octo that it was broken, and then I went to friendship jail. So
yeah, fair. Yeah. That's okay. That's good. I'm glad that you're being released.
It was more that he had to find out from someone else, wasn't it?
That was the crime. That was what you were accused of.
That was the crime.
Right. Not so much the breaking, but the deception.
And then I was streaming. I didn't have time to go to his office and sit him down and tell him what happened to our child.
It sounds to me like someone narked on you. Is what it sounds like. Like it sounds like we might have a snitch in our midst.
You don't
sounds
use
like
that
a few
once
thousand
rehabilitated,
people.
But
listen, I think the important thing to remember here, and this is for you, chat, because I don't play role-playing games with snitches. Don't be a rat, chat.
Yeah.
Be a chat, not a rat. All right.
I like it.
Zip your lip. Don't tell him. So, what else has been going on with you? I saw that you're in jail. Have you finished Battle Chief Brigade? Master Chef Brigade?
You know what's funny is I thought I was pretty much done with that game, and then I realized, there's actually quite a bit left to do. So I still have an entire chapter left to play of that game. But today I really wanted, today I really wanted to play the new Harvest Moon game, and it's a very convoluted mess of a game. Ever since the people who made the old good Harvest Moons are no longer at Natsume, they just make really terrible Harvest Moon games.
Yeah.
So
that's a shame. That's a shame. Are you pro Stardew Valley, or are you? Yes. Okay.
I loved Stardew Valley. I mean, I still love it. I still think that it's very fun. But, you know, there's a part of me that just wants, a new story that takes place in a situation where I have to also grow crops, right? So,
right.
So I figured I would give this new Harvest Moon that came out on Steam a try, and it was...
Not so good.
It is... it's trying.
Well, that's good. That's a good...
But, you know. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they can't all be winners, and that's often a problem. You know, speaking of games that got worse and worse over time, I hear they're making a new Mega Man game. Anybody give a shit about Mega Man?
Whoa, exciting.
It feels like that ship has sailed.
Sorry, I passed out. What?
So, Capcom, I guess, announced Mega Man 11 today, which, as a fan of the early Mega Man games, I was like, interesting. And then I watched it, and I was like, Capcom, just give me that Monster Hunter and stop talking about Mega Man.
Dude, Sam has been going so ham on the Monster Hunter game.
I saw you switched games since last time we talked about Monster Hunter, didn't you, Sam?
Yeah, the only stuff we had left to hunt in the old game we were playing, which was 7 years old, was in the game that came out this year. and the only trade-off was that the game is entirely in Japanese. But we were like, that ain't gonna stop us, and so we've been playing the new one on the Switch.
I mean, there's Japanese, and then there's speaking the language of Monster Hunter, which I think you're probably considerably more fluent in. So with a game like that, I figure you can pretty much jam it out. Yeah, yeah.
Like the whole UI is the same, so you can just figure out.
Pretty happy
we also got the best bit is that Google Translate has a phone app where you can pick a language and you can hold it up to the screen and it will translate everything on the screen. So when we're trying to figure out what is what, we just hold the phone up to the screen and it'll go like, this is how you join your friends and all this stuff. So we figured it all out in the first day and we were having a good time.
Well, that's good.
I'm in deep training for World. This weekend.
Well, you're showing your commitment. It's exciting. Yeah, I'm excited to talk about it after the weekend. I feel like it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult to tear both of us away from that to do Nebula Jazz next week, but we can do it. We can just spend the whole pre-show talking about it. It'll be fine.
Yep.
I'm here for you, Sam. Pokket, what have you been up to? What's going on? What's new with you?
You don't want to know. You
What really?
Are you saying that because you spent a lot of time playing Black Desert Online?
No, I deny everything. I deny it all. I was one of those, like, when it first came out, I was like, this is too grindy for me. I don't like it, blah, blah, blah. I don't like the classes. And now there's, like, 20,000 classes, and they made it easier to level up. And I'm just like, the first day, I think I spent, like, 15 hours playing, and the next day I spent even more. And then we had to do the tournament on Saturday, which Strippin and I won. Thank you. Just throwing that out there.
You guys killed it. I was watching.
And this is for is this a charity thing, this tournament that you're in, or is this a different thing? Yeah.
Talk
about that, because I definitely saw some of that stuff going on. Something about Twitch being red instead of purple. What was that about?
It was for the red Coca-Cola, Apple, and Arena of Valor, which is a mobile League of Legends type game. And it was for the red charity, which is to fight AIDS. Mm-hmm. And they wanted us to raise money, all the streamers that were partaking, so we brought in our teams. We had 2 captains, which were 2 streamers or a YouTuber. And yeah, we just played against each other, and it was actually a lot of fun. So nice. Our whole team was full of League of Legends players, so we were okay. We were pretty good. Strippin was pretty terrible.
Damn.
He was good enough that in the end it was best of 5, and they kept banning his character, like his main. So they were afraid of him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
well, the story has a twist because
okay, go ahead.
One of the captains decided that they were going to go and find a professional player for this game and bring them into the fold under the guise of charity. And so every other team was just getting destroyed by this pro player who was like legitimately sponsored, competes, like that kind. And then we managed to get to the final 2, and he had to leave after the first match. And so like he did his thing after the first match and went, and then it was like comeback of the century. And we were the people's champion because we hadn't used like a disgusting professional player. And
luckily
and we did it.
Was really nice.
I was gonna say the pro was really nice though.
I didn't find it was like more so the guy that brought him than the guy himself.
I think more people were mad at the guy that brought him than him. Like he just wanted to have fun as well, but he ended up like 1v5'd our team, like one person versus all of us, and he killed us all. And we're like, all right,
that's cool.
That's fair.
It's all right. Keep smiling because we're raising money.
Yeah.
It was cool. We raised $10,000 and Coke added another 50, so we raised $60,000. So
yeah.
Pretty good time.
Damn,
and it ended up like I thought it was gonna be like a 5-hour deal. I ended up streaming 12 hours, and it's by the end I'm like I don't even know how I'm playing anymore. I'm just pressing things. So it was still a lot of fun. So
that sounds like every time I've ever tried to play a MOBA. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just pressing things. The screen's moving around.
The best part, Adam, is this is a mobile MOBA.
Oh,
so
good.
They were all on tablets and phones playing this game.
Which looked weird because at first I made the mistake of wearing a hat. So I'm like wearing this hat and I'm looking down like this. So this is what I look
that someone in my chat brought up and they were like they were super smart because they gave us all Coca-Cola hats. Right? Yeah. And then they gave us a mobile game. So we were like this all game. In the webcams. I was like,
oh my God, I'm really thirsty right now. I could go for a Coke.
I mean, it worked out for the advertising, but also people get in my stream and be like, why is she just looking down? Like, why does she look at chat?
Why does Pokket look so bored right now?
Yeah. Exactly.
Classic.
Exactly.
It's just following you around. Eventually, all you're going to do is just look at your phone on stream, and people are going to ask you why you're not paying attention. It's good. It's good. Well, you raised a bunch of money. That's exciting. Even though you were
also, like, while I was playing that the whole time, I was, AFK grinding in BDO, whatever. It's whatever, man. I was doing so. No, I got really into that game. I didn't like it because of how hard or grindy, I should say, it was, and how much it was to do. And I've been slowly like researching everything, and I'm like, I just need something that is so different that I want to just try it and get into it, because I'm so bored of games right now. I don't know what's wrong. I'm just like burnt out, I guess.
just like games generally, like all games.
Yeah, like I've been trying to get into games that I know I like, but I'm just like, I don't want to play it right now, man. I'm just not feeling it. And then I get into this and I'm like, oh my God, I can't stop leveling. So, yeah. So I don't know what
Sam used to play.
What level are you?
I'm 56. I just got my awakening weapon.
You'll stop soon.
Okay. Well, actually, no, because they're like, oh, but did you know you could tame horses and breed them? And I'm like, oh, I'm going to do that now. So I've been like gaining my training so I can go tame some horses and breed them so I can sell them for a lot of money. I don't know what's wrong with me right now. This is just a phase. Mom said I'll get over it soon.
It's not a phase, Mom. I really love this game. Okay.
Exactly.
I'm going to love it forever and ever and ever. Yeah, I remember the character creator for that game, but then never actually getting into the game proper. I didn't even realize that it was out. But I'm glad. You know what? I'm glad you're having fun. I'm not going to judge you for it.
Hey, I'm having fun. The character creator, I was just like, okay, so the thing I don't like about the game is that they have it race and gender locked. So if you want to play a certain class, you have to be a certain race and gender. So like strikers are like these giant dudes, these giant like behemoth. I don't like playing tall characters, and I'm sorry, I don't like playing dudes unless I'm like an orc or an elf or something. I don't know why. And then I don't know, I always like fitting my characters to do different looks, and I'm like, how come I can only be Asian? And then on another one I'm like, how come I can't be Asian? And then it's just like, I don't even know. Like I don't know. So it's I don't like that it's like locked to that, but at the same time I got over it. Whatever. I just got over it.
That sounds really cool. That sounds like a great time. I'm glad you're having fun. So Jesse, how have you been?
It sounds like you really are interested in the game, you know?
You know, you're really selling me on this one. Sounds like a good time.
Character creator, man, you could be Gandalf. There you go. I sold it.
You could be Gandalf.
Listen,
and Josh, you could be a weeb, like, whatever. Right. You already are.
I'm trying hard to be Gandalf IRL. I can't be video game
so
Gandalf.
I could just build myself inside of the game.
You could just build yourself inside the game.
Great.
All right, so here we go. We'll make an MMO where Dodger can play herself and I can be Gandalf, and we're good to go. It'll be
and I could be the alcoholic.
Evidently, you can play a character with a drinking problem.
That's how it always goes.
It's a slider of how much of a drinking problem you have.
It's gotta be the fighter though. Just like what was it? It wasn't Mortal Kombat. It's like Street Fighter, where it's like the guy that was like always drunk and stumbling around, but then like he comboed like amazingly well. I don't know what game I'm talking about. I'm sure chat knows, but yeah, there's like this drunk character I always loved when I was a kid. I was doomed from video games.
There's a drunken master in Dead or Alive.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what game you're talking about. I think it's.
Is it Street Fighter or not?
Caliber.
It was a guy that was drunk. What? Not. It was a Virtual Fighter.
Was it Ryu?
Ryu?
Caliber.
Fucking Ryu. Always drunk.
Yeah, it's in the background. Like it's subtle. It's like Bloodborne. You got to figure out the clues.
I don't know what Virtual Fighter is. It sounds like
the fact that everybody's just listing off different games makes me think maybe there's a drunken master in every series.
Yeah.
It sounds like there's a drunken master in a lot of these. So, yeah, the drunk guy. There you go. Woo.
There you
anyway.
go.
And you would say that being drunk is something you're good at?
I'm asking. Down? No, I don't. I'm not telling you. No, I'm not actually.
I'm just saying. Look, I have my reasons. Would you say
if
you had to describe yourself?
Yeah, if you needed some kind of special skill, would you say it's one of your attributes that being drunk is
alcohol?
Hypothetically speaking.
No, I'm not at all joking. Is this something?
If you had to rate your, let's say, I don't know, rate your mind on a scale of 0 to 5. How smart do you think that you are?
Shh, enough. That's enough out of you. I'm taking notes. I'm taking notes.
Well, if you'd let me know in advance, I would have made this intro bit way more autobiographical. Well, so are you looking forward? Are you looking forward to your weekend excursion into Game Master Town, Jesse? Are you looking forward to it?
Everyone should be excited. They should be looking forward to their weekend excursion to my house.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The house of your imagination.
Yeah, the house of my imagination, where they all come over.
The house of horror, haunted house.
It's a Christmas party, but sure. All right, it's what you want to make it. Honestly, I just need to find out some information about you guys. That's all. I'm slowly collecting it.
Do you understand yet, Pokket?
No, she tuned me out immediately. The minute I started talking, she started listening to like.
She's doing some of that BDO AFK farming.
No. I'm listening to like. I'm over here listening to like Britney Spears and shit now. What?
It's all right. No, that's you. It's literally the story of my life. It's okay. I'll keep it all in mind. -1 to listening skill.
Wow.
Attention span of a net.
Yeah, attention span -50.
No. I think it's attention span. It's not -1 listening. It's attention span of hello, what?
Yeah.
So that's why video's perfect because there's so much to do. I'm like, oh my god.
Pocket's losing all those DKP before we even started.
But yeah.
Never mind. It doesn't matter. What the hell do I care?
What's great for me personally, what's really great about all these folks doing like GM one-shots or whatever is reaching out to me afterwards and being like, yo, that shit is hard. And I'm like, yeah, I know. You're all the worst.
I'm aware.
I'm aware. Yes, I've played with you. I know how it is. Except Krendor. Krendor was just like, that shit was easy. I'm like, it's fine.
I'm still convinced that Krendor made up all of it as he went.
Yeah, absolutely. See,
maybe
I trust
that's the sign of a great. Maybe if Krendor wanted to, he really could become one of the best DMs of all time.
I'm glad you are lying to yourself about that, but
it's a hypothetical. The same.
Later, I was looking up how we're supposed to build our characters in that game. In the game type that
from how he had us do it.
Well, what's interesting from a game like a GM and game designer perspective is that a lot of role-playing games have a caveat at the beginning that's like, if the GM doesn't like a rule or wants to rule something differently, they can change the rule for the sake of the game. Generally, one should not take that advice and apply it to the entire rule book. But that's technically, I guess, like, if the game says you don't need to play by the rules, what do you need the rules for?
Exactly.
So
no rules.
Yeah, I guess that's
another asset about my character. There we go. I'm learning about myself now. Can I just say, Brad Wong from Dead or Alive. There you go.
I knew it. That's what I said.
Shout outs to Brad Wong.
And all of chat that said that instead of Virtual Fighter, which I've never heard of.
Virtual Fighter is the one where everyone looks like a series of triangles mushed together, and then they fight each other.
Yeah.
That sounds good. I'll play that.
It's pretty good. Yeah, it's a pile of triangles. They're just polygons. It's like a N64.
Original Tomb Raider. Okay.
Yes, exactly. Like original Tomb Raider. Precisely. Do you need me to ask them any more leading questions, Jesse?
Will you stop? No. Jesse, I can see you taking notes over there. I'm not talking at all today. You know what?
I am taking notes. Look, you should be thankful I'm creating characters for you based around who I think you really are.
It's just because he doesn't need to do this with Sam and I. He sees us literally every day.
Yeah. No, I definitely I've just made you and Sam tropes is all. Pokket.
Yeah, easy.
I'm trying to I have 2 other people that I need to fill the niche for, and you're just a great trope. And you're easy, dude. So
great trope. Aww. Of what? The drunk fighter?
The drunken white girl.
The drunk. But I like, oh my God, I don't get like this when I'm drunk.
you guys are gonna. I'm letting you know right now, just on behalf of myself and Adam and JP, you're gonna have so much fun. This is gonna be the most fun.
White girl wasted. You guys have to bear with Valley Girl the whole time.
You will not be white girl wasted. I promise you. I'm gonna create you the best characters. You will love to be them, and more importantly, you're gonna have a hell of a good time. It's gonna be the single best role-playing session you ever take part in. You don't have to stress. It's not even gonna be like stressful. It's gonna be relaxing as shit. It's a holiday themed. Like it's gonna be so good. It's gonna be so good.
I have faith in you.
So,
I believe.
So Pokket, I have a question for you
Okay.
to help Jesse get a better understanding of your character. So you're in a desert, walking along in the sand, and all of a sudden you look down, you see a tortoise. It's crawling towards you.
I don't know how that helps you, but it does. You know what? Actually, I'm in. Pokket.
Okay.
You reach down and you flip the tortoise over on its back pocket. The tortoise lays on its back, its belly baking in the hot sun, beating its legs, trying to turn itself over. But it can't now that you're but you're not helping. Why aren't you helping, Pokket?
Why didn't I? Obviously, it has a map on its belly, and I'm reading it. Okay, that's why I'm not helping.
Shot. Harrison Ford just shot her.
Yeah, Harrison Ford, you're dead.
Shit.
Sorry. Rip.
Sorry, Pokket. You just got straight up murdered by Harrison Ford.
What?
I'm not even worried. I'm not even like what? No, I bent over. He missed.
Yes, schoolhouse rules.
Yeah,
this is why we have role-playing games.
The one thing I've learned is that you don't play by the rules, Pokket.
Right, she's a loner, Dottie, a rebel.
Yeah, rebel trope.
What are you talking about? The Rick Grimes, Lena Jory moment?
No, I'm just saying you don't play by the rules.
Oh, okay.
You don't play by the rules, and so I've figured out what to do for your character. This is gonna be great.
There are rules.
There's just look. I'm creating characters for you, and I want them to be the best characters possible.
Okay.
And I'm just gonna make your character great.
Yes.
So for folks who didn't necessarily follow that whole rigmarole,
you don't know what Blade Runner is?
Well, that part, if you didn't understand that bit, hopeless. Right. But that whole goof there was Jesse is going to GM a Christmas themed one shot, and it's I'm super excited. I'm going to tune in for sure and watch alongside the audience. I feel like perhaps the part I'm most excited about is the reveal of everyone's character. I think it's going to be really good.
I spent a lot of time creating some really goofy characters for you guys, so I can't wait for you to play them.
That's on Sunday, right? Sunday at
the 17th. So it's after Star Wars.
Yeah. So
which I may change. I'm gonna let you know. Right now. Depending on how this movie goes, I may just make you all characters from Star Wars and create a Star Wars game, but a Star Wars Christmas special game. I don't know. I may change everything. I'm all
right with that. I'm all right with that.
Yeah. Dodger, you're gonna be Ray.
No. She has to be the little furry guy that goes.
No, that's Sam. Sam's gonna be.
Let me be Ray.
No, Dodger's Ray.
No, Dodger, you're Unkar Plute. That's you. You're him. Sorry.
No.
Yeah. Well, if we're just gonna make everyone side characters, all right. Sam is Nien Nub. Dodger.
Has anyone done like a Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are Dead, but of Star Wars? Has that been a thing? Like, have we had one of those?
Wedge and Nien Nub, and they just are like a lot of. Yes, actually, there is. They're in the old canon, there was 2 stormtroopers, and I can't remember their fucking names, but it used to be a series. It was either the comics or something else, but it was a series, and they were like the stormtroopers who were always around, and they always got like, what the fuck was the name of that thing?
Yeah,
whatever it was.
I've said this in pre-shows past, and we're running out of time. But if you have not seen Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are Dead, it is just like the greatest. It's so fucking good.
My favorite play.
Yeah,
Tag and Vink is what their names are. Tag and Vink.
Nice. Yeah, it's Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are like Hamlet's best buddies, and they're in Hamlet like a couple of times briefly. But what this play does, and there's a movie of it, it follows them instead, and it's it's really good. I really like it. It's a good time. You should check that out.
And Gary Oldman's in it.
Gary Oldman is in it. And don't they play ping pong in it or something? It gets weird. It gets really weird.
It's not ping pong, but they do play a game like that. Yeah.
I'm gonna go watch that again. It's so good. Cool.
Look, I'm just gonna say I'm really excited. I'm gonna promote it again, y'all. The 17th of December
17th.
at noon Eastern. No, PST, 3 o'clock Eastern time, 8 p.m. if you're in the British Isles. I think 1 more hour if you're in GMT. Look, I don't know. I don't care. Come watch it. It's gonna be the best single event to happen at Christmas ever. 2,000 years from now, they're going to be talking about the birth of the greatest RPG there ever was.
Take that, Jesus.
Yeah, take that, Jesus.
I like how you just John Lennon to role-playing games. Nice work. That's good.
Yeah. I'm the Oasis of the Beatles of role-playing games.
It's nice. I can put that on your bio. JP, can you change the overlays so that it says I'm the Oasis of the Beatles of Jesus of role-playing games? Because it's nice.
That's good. A negative.
It's both totally incomprehensible and perfectly Jesse. So let's play some Nebula Jazz. Let's do that. Speaking of incomprehensible. Last session where we left off, you achieved your goal. You found Xanadu. We're done, right? You found the place and everything's great. All we have to do now is get inside and make it happen. So the last few episodes have been about getting a spaceship. You had one, and then you had another one, and then you ended up on a third spaceship, which is now quasi-sentient. It's on its way to sentience, and is a friend of Basil's. Her name is Penny. And you followed the.
I feel like
the
we don't know if they're friends. I feel like it's an unrequited friendship. Maybe Basil feels like they're friends.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. I mean, Penny's still figuring some stuff out, right? She's still growing as a person.
Yeah. Also, I'm using her for world domination. I don't necessarily love her.
Right.
Yeah. Totally.
I'm in it for some ship tail, not much else. And by tail, I mean disruptor rays that are in the back of the ship.
So Penny belongs to Leviathan Hellhammer, who is a young Agaran huntress on a mission to keep Sam from dying, keep Old Rex from getting dead in his quest, so that she can wring the information from him about the location of the half Mingasi, half human hybrid princess who is in a magical or scientific, we haven't quite figured out the details yet, coma. Leviathan Hellhammer unfortunately got Mingasi magicked by the young Artemis, a Mingasi who somehow survived the Mingasi plague and is now feeling all sorts of teenage confusion. But she's still on mission. And you're on her ship, so she can't really go anywhere. Yeah. Accompanying the group of you is Luna Chiara, a scientist who has recovered from the jail of a cell of bad people. We never really cleared up what they were up to. But they're all dead now, and you have their map, so it doesn't matter. And the last thing that we saw was the horizon of Xanadu. Xanadu being a location that is supposed to contain some secret Mingasi information or process or something. You've been hunting it, Rex, as a means to achieve your goal. And then arriving at it, we can see that the outside, it's basically a Dyson sphere. It's an enormous golden sphere, the size of essentially the orbit of a near sun planet, made out of some kind of gold material, because the Mingasi are baller even when their empire is destroyed. And and there's some kind of like drones moving around performing maintenance on it. It doesn't seem to simply be dead and floating in space. It's relatively active. But from this distance, and only having sort of been teased the initial view of it, you don't know too much else. Okay. So I think we probably begin on the view of the great golden Dyson sphere reflecting light from space, and your ship heading towards it.
Okay.
What do you want to do? What's the plan?
Is there a way in?
Yeah, so I think you can see we get the kind of 2001 intro of it slowly coming up into frame majestically as the intro music fades out, and we can see that there are panels in the sphere as we get our kind of camera tour of the outsides of it. There are these panels, each like Australia sized basically, that are missing or being repaired. So you could potentially slip in. Ostensibly, they received traffic at some point, so there must be some kind of official means of accessing it. But its Mingasi creators, as you know, are all long gone. So,
all right, just pick a hole and.
Yep, go on.
Uh-huh.
Where are we going with this, buddy?
Rex kind of nods the Hellhammer. He's like,
pick a hole.
over there. Drop us off over there.
She looks at you and kind of squints a little, and she says, "You just want us to fly in there."
Unless you want to go in the front door.
She looks over at Artemis, who is sitting. You're not like manning the console, but you're sitting in the one of the seats. Mm-hmm. She looks at you and she says, "Well, what do the sensors say?"
It's over 9. Sorry.
What do the sensors
Luna
say?
Chiara today will be played by nobody because Pokket is off the show. Thanks, though.
Why?
Thanks for coming.
Why?
So yeah, so the ship has a suite of sensors. You haven't really scanned it or anything.
Do I know how to do those things?
That's up to you.
Okay, I think I would be like, why are you asking me? It's your ship.
She looks at you and kind of scowls, and she's like, "Never mind, move," and walks over to you and kind of just pushes you out of the chair.
Okay, I'll stand up.
Yeah, and she sits down and starts looking at she's typing onto the kind of glowing red holographic interface. There's Agaran sigils indicating various computer type things. It's gonna be a second as she does this. Basil, you and Luna are both there. Everyone's kind of up front. What are the two of you? What are you guys doing?
Man, Basil is just trying to. He's a mess. He's still a mess. He's trying to get himself back into some semblance of the bot he was, but it's like him taping the skin of his face back on, and it just looks worse.
Just got a staple gun, and you're just pulling it onto your skin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Hideous.
I'm in
just horrible looking.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'm in this chemistry lab that I found. And I'm mixing together some ingredients to make more sort of Batman bombs. But as I'm doing this, I just hear, "I love you, mommy," and then I feel little teddy bear hug my leg, and I'm just just keep going. I just ignore it. Just keep going.
I forgot about Teddy.
I love Teddy.
Yep. Yeah. So there's a small recently reprogrammed robot teddy bear that has been following you around on the ship. And yeah, you're using one of the gunboats, like workshop spaces, as a makeshift chemistry lab. And what are you making? What are you preparing?
I want to prepare more. Hold on, I have it written down, and I closed it. I want to make more of like I want to make a knockout gas. I want to make another one of the transformations like Artemis used before. I'm gonna make it exactly the same. Like, okay, so someone gets to be me, whatever. I'm gonna make it exactly the same because it worked, but
right.
So I'm gonna make it exactly the same, and then I want to make some more thermite. That's it. Basically, some thermite to blow open doors or like small locations. So.
Okay. Yeah. So you're just messing around with your chemistry kit as the ship is sort of lingering. You're not.
I'm making some easy some easy stuff. Easy because I know it now, but nothing too complicated. Just that I can store if I need it, or Artemis needs it.
Sure. Yeah, that sounds good. Let's have you make a roll to create an advantage. And if you can succeed, we'll just create an advantage that basically gives you access to some prepared infiltration like tools, some of that stuff that you've made before.
Okay.
So I think difficulty 2, and you're doing this carefully. So.
No, I'm trying to be clever.
Yeah, I mean, clever is in the moment. If you were in the moment and you're like, I grabbed 2 things and I mixed them together while other stuff's going on, you got lots of time. You have a workspace.
But wouldn't you argue a scientist is always trying to be clever when they're working with chemicals? Like if you mix the wrong thing, you do it at the wrong time. You gotta get everything perfect to a T. I watched Breaking Bad.
You're literally describing the word careful right now. Yeah.
Well, the reason I'm trying to is because I have a stunt that like when I'm cleverly creating strange concoctions.
Yeah, because Luna's not so good with lab work, right? Luna is much better in the moment. So maybe you don't do it now. Maybe you're just like distracted by the bear and you can do it later. But yeah, that's the difference between clever and careful. Yeah.
Okay, I'll roll for careful. I got a 3.
I'm so disappointed.
Well, I feel like no matter what, when you're working with like chemicals and you're trying to make thermite and knockout gases and duplicates of yourself, like that's clever to me. But I got it. Doesn't matter. For once, I won a roll.
I like how personal it's getting now. I won the roll. I win. I am the winner.
That's the last time you'll ever win.
I know. I'm gonna fail every other roll this round, so I'm just gonna prepare for failure. Okay. Can that be an aspect? Prepare for failure? I'm just kidding.
Yes. I mean, prepared for failure is absolutely an aspect that you could have.
Okay. Because I need to prepare for it, obviously.
Yeah. Do you want to take that? Because you have one more, right?
Yeah, I'd love to have one prepared for failure.
Okay.
Or right. Like if things go wrong.
Prepared for failure is a great aspect because I can think of lots of opportunities to compel that. To just be like, well, you're going to fail, right? So maybe you think better of it.
There you go. Okay. I got it. Yes. Pokket.
Okay. All right. So while you're in the back, up front, Basil, I guess Basil, you're also maybe in like one of the quarters, one of the smaller rooms, stapling your face back together. Rex, Artemis, and Leviathan are up front. So Artemis, do you and Rex have like a conversation about what to do next or what's ahead of you? Is there any kind of like nervousness here or what? I want to get a read on the two of you because this is sort of your mission.
I mean, I don't really know what to do. I have nothing to offer, but I am sort of like, I'm more restless than anything because this is an opportunity to learn a lot. And I feel like lately I've been finding out all kinds of stuff about Mingasi. So, yeah, I'm like excited, but I know I need to be careful. So I'm just kind of feeling like I want to do something, you know?
Right. So you've got some like nervous energy.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And Rex, what about you?
Rex has got some old school questions. Something that these guys don't know about Rex. Maybe Basil knows, but Rex, he doesn't know why that scepter did what it did. He doesn't know why the Angarans made it do that. He doesn't know why the Mingasi were trying to chase it. Did they know? If they did, is there answers in there? He doesn't he's kind of come here being like, this is where I'll find my answers. But realistically, he doesn't even know the way in or what's inside. So this is like, I'd say like the confidence is waning because he doesn't really know where to go from here. Like this is as far as the plan went. There's no more plan after this part.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I think it's like Rex has got like a silent brooding element to him right now.
Okay. So, Leviathan looks back over her shoulder and, just addresses the room. So both of you or whatever. And she says, I can't get a read on anything in there. There's some kind of interference. I mean, they did build the place to be a huge secret or whatever. So she kind of shrugs. I guess pick a hole is as good a plan as any.
I mean, everybody in there should be dead, right?
She looks pointedly at you like, yeah, you should be.
I'm just saying, right? Like, it would be odd if it was a fully manned place. If there's a couple people in there, we should be fine, right? I'm kind of looking at Rex.
Rex kind of like waves his finger and then he grabs Hellhammer and leaves the room.
Okay,
so
bye,
when you go to like grab her, she like throws you off. She's just like, get out of here. And then the two of you like walk away, and she gives a confused look back at you, Artemis. Like you can't really read it, but she like looks back at you for a second and then turns around and follows Rex. Okay, so the two of you are in the hallway. The door shuts.
Semi-privately, Rex kind of like
she's like, what?
Kind of leans in. He's like, maybe we should go in the front door.
She shakes her head. She's like, I don't know. This is your magical Mingasi, whatever.
If the door's locked, we got the key.
She looks back at the room. What are you? You're all alone in the cockpit. What are you doing, Artemis?
I just like flop into the seat that Hellhammer was in, and just kind of look around and see. Can I read everything on there? Because I can understand spoken Agaran now.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just kind of like looking at it. Just kind of seeing.
99% of what's on the displays are about how to destroy things or how like undestroyed the ship is. It's all like weapons control systems and all that.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just kind of like
just kind of flopping in the chair. Okay. Yeah. So so Leviathan says, what? So you think we just go up to the front door and show her to it and it'll let us in?
Yeah, is that weird?
Like, I don't know. You're the one with the Mingasi on board. I've never met one before.
It's Mingasi's,
I mean,
it's not a big deal.
She looks at you like it very much is a big deal, but she doesn't want to talk about it. And
there used to be a lot of them. Let me just clarify, they were actually everywhere.
She nods and she says, I mean, I know a lot of their technology is genetic based, and I mean, it's not the stupidest thing you've said since we met, so we could try. They also have a lot of really powerful weapons, and as proud as I am of my ship, I didn't come all the way out here to get turned into vapor.
Well, we can sneak. Downside is I can't really read the map. It's going to be easier for me to read the map if we're going through the front. Unless you want to read the map. It's pretty confusing.
She says, I mean, the map is a star map. It led us here, but it doesn't say anything about what's inside. Everything I've heard about this place is stories, myths, drunk treasure hunters looking for it.
Fuck it, right? Front door. Let's just do the front door. What's worse that could happen? Hey?
She shrugs. It's like, we could die, I guess.
Well, story ends.
Everybody's got to die sometime. All right, so the two of you go back into the cockpit, and she sees you sitting in her chair. She's like, "Move!"
What? I was here just fine before. Now it's a problem.
Yeah, well, now I have to pilot the ship. Get up.
I love the idea that like Rex opens the door and then she says, "Everybody's got to die sometime," and the whole room hears it, and they're just like, "Huh."
All right, sounds like it was a good talk.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, so so she gets into the seat and puts on the seatbelt and says, she says over the intercom so everyone in the ship can hear it. She says, "All right, so we're just gonna fly this thing in there and see what happens. So I don't know, but buckle up, I guess, or don't. I don't really care."
Basil drops the stapler he was using to put his face back together. He's like, "What's even the point now?"
So
and just buckles in.
You hear Penny come on over like your room's intercom, and she says, "Oh, now Basil, don't be like that."
This is what I'm like, Penny.
She says, "Don't be down. There might be someone inside you can kill."
Basil tries to form a smile, but because half his face is like all dysfunction, it looks like warped and twisted.
He's the like, evilest smirk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You always know the right things to say.
So she says, there. I'm sure you'll be murdering something soon. So the ship, we cut to the outside of the ship, and its ominous matte black pointy shape starts moving towards the sphere. And as you get closer to it, you can see that there are, at certain intersections, some of these hexes are differently shaped, or they have a barrier, a boundary around them that indicates maybe that they're not simply just panels blocking the inside from the outside. One of which, as best that you can guess, based on the scan, is intended to open. It seems to be a portal of some kind. So she heads towards that. And as you get within a few kilometers, of it, there is a brief burst of static, sort of high-pitched noise, and Leviathan winces, hits a button, and it crackles out, and you can hear it the sound being modulated until you can hear a voice, and the voice is speaking in a low sort of monotone in a language that I think everyone has heard before, but very few people can speak. It's kind of like Latin in the 1200s. It's some old Mingasi like dialogue language that is not used commonly, but Artemis, you can understand it. And you seem to have stumbled on a repeating, like you cut into the middle of a very short range kind of announcement. Okay. And and it's basically saying that you have entered the sacred space of the Mingasi Imperium, that this place is holy and restricted only to the nobility of the Mingasi Imperium, and that all those who trespass are doomed. Basically, it's just like a repeating message of stay away.
Okay, I'll sort of say the message out loud as I hear it so that everybody knows.
Okay.
Yeah,
and
it's
I figure
just repeating
everybody's
like
more or less gathered now, because you can't go any further without kind of reaching this barrier. So I think at this point, Leviathan and Rex probably both look pointedly at Artemis, right? Like maybe Artemis, you notice them looking at you.
What?
Leviathan
I'm not nobility. I don't know what your plan was here.
You're something.
I mean, I don't think that I'm going to get in there any easier than you guys are.
Really? You don't think any easier? Really?
I'm just saying it says get out if you're not nobility, and I'm not nobility. I'm just I'm like a schmuck tier Mingasi.
Leviathan snorts a little and she's like, there is no such thing. Come on. When have you ever lowers her head because you're like, she knows that you've never met another Mingasi. She looks at Rex and she's like, these golden douchebags all think they're nobles. That's the whole point. Just, and she turns back to you. Just say something to it. Tell it you're the princess. I don't know. Make something up.
What's a normal Mingasi name? Any ideas?
She's like, Fauntleroy? Like, she doesn't know. No one.
Okay, I'll like hit the
Rudiger?
button to broadcast my voice. Say, hi, in like Mingasi. Say,
So you're very unpracticed with this particular like highly ritualized language.
this is art Princess Fauntleroy, and I wish to board this sphere thing.
No one in the room.
No one knows. No one knows.
Knows how awkward that was. So they both look at you. So Leviathan just looks at you, kind of like, and then what happened? Let's see how that went. Let's have you roll. Go ahead and roll clever, I guess.
All right.
And let's see how you do.
3.
It's not bad. 3's pretty good.
Am I
So I
rolling
think this is the first indication of something being broken, because the wave pattern that recognizes voices shows up as a gold kind of assessment hologram on the viewport, and it as you're speaking, it's kind of wavering, and then the voice says in Old Mingasi, analyzing voice sample. And it like makes a weird noise and kind of bends it, and then you hear your own voice kind of looping back at it, and then it says voice analysis system damaged, and then a portal in front of you, the hexagon starts to slide open, and it says proceed to security checkpoint for manual assessment.
Okay.
And Leviathan looks at you. I think she slaps you on the back, like a little hard.
Oh.
And she's like, "Hey, you did it!"
Yeah.
And then looks at you. So she hits you like pretty hard on the back. She's like, "You did it!" And then you look at her, and then she's just like, "Ugh!" Like she's like, "Oh God, how did I do that?"
I wish I had never touched you.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
She doesn't want to apologize, but she feels bad that she touched you.
Yeah. Like rub my back and go, yeah, I guess the voice thing is busted, but it's gonna let us in because we have to proceed to security. So.
Oh, security. That sounds good. And not at all like we're gonna get blown up. That's fine.
There shouldn't be security, right? Again, like nobody should be in here.
Yeah, be a piece of cake. Don't worry about it, kids.
She looks out the window and she says, then who's giving those robots orders? And you can see the little maintenance drones kind of floating around.
Well, aren't there sometimes like mother brain system things?
She shakes her head and she's like, don't look at me. We don't use robots. I hate the things.
So who else on this ship do you not hate?
She squints at you. She's like, no one?
All right, cool. Just want to make sure.
Shrugs.
Okay, so I guess let's go.
She looks at the controls and she's like, well, I mean, if we're going to security, you should probably take her in?
Me?
No, she's looking at her new Mingasi friend.
Ah.
Take the ship?
It's not hard. Just grab the thing there. And she points at some complicated-looking joystick.
Okay. Sure, I'll try to drive us in.
Okay, all right. So the ship initially in sort of fits and starts, kind of like takes off and starts heading towards the sphere, and we follow it kind of in profile as we pass through the wall of the sphere, and you can see that the walls of the Dyson sphere are quite thin. The gold panels are a kind of foil, and it's built around a more rigid kind of like skeleton, essentially. So it's these like stretched panels in each of these skeletons, sort of continent-sized panels, and you're flying through a gap that is opened in one of them. And as we follow the ship, we go from the cold darkness of space to a very, very different interior. And this would be the kind of long establishing shot with the big impressive music swelling as you fly in. And on the inside of the sphere, we can see at its center, there is a tiny captured star, right? So you can see essentially a sun in the middle of the sphere, illuminating a space around it in which like 3 or 4 planetoids kind of float in orbit around this star. They are of a massively diverse biomic makeup. So one appears to be like a mostly jungle, and you can see another that is like a desert, and there's a place in between the two of them where from the jungle a river of water flows double helix style down into the desert, into an oasis on the desert planetoid as they kind of rotate around each other. One of them appears to be like an ice, like a big ball of ice and snow, and in the whole thing, inside the entire sphere, there is bright magenta and purple sort of nebular gases floating around. And there are tiny sort of sparks of lightning as you go in. And this thing is enormous, right? It's a huge sphere with these little planets on it. And as you fly in, you can see there is a hexagon-shaped cylindrical spaceship or something. It's big enough to go all the way around the ship that you're in. And then some, and it's moving towards you. So rather than like there being a security checkpoint, something appears to be on an intercept course towards you.
What the fuck? What do I do?
Leviathan looks at you like
nothing. We just ride this out.
What even is that?
We just ride this out.
Luna and Basil are both. You're both, I think, at this point in the cockpit with them, so you can see all of this happening too. You're not just
I walk in. I got a teddy bear attached to my leg that won't shut up in demon voice, and I walk up to Artemis and I hand her a little ball, and it has like this gas cloud in it, just like the one that she had before. I'm like, here you go, in case you need this again. And I just like put it in her hands, and I just walk to the back and lean against the wall. And I'm just trying so hard not to be pissed off at this stupid teddy bear.
I like how you're being presented with like the vast grandness of Mingasi creation, and you're just like, this robot teddy bear is pissing me off.
Hey, I've heard a little bit about this, so we're good. I'm learning. I'm just gonna sit back, take notes, and try not to be pissed. And try not to make any rolls tonight.
I see. Okay. All right. Basil, any reaction from you to this scene?
Basil yawns.
Yeah.
It is this is all very boring.
Okay.
The vastness and beauty of space does not interest. It's just stupid. The fact that this is inside this sphere does not. He's like, okay, cool.
Yeah. It's like, yep. Cool. All right. So,
what is
no
this?
one seems to know what to do.
What is this sphere that's coming toward? Like, what does it look like?
So the thing moving towards you is a sort of hexagon-shaped metal, like gold metal tube. It's probably like a kilometer or two across, and then probably 10 or 12 kilometers long. And it's floating towards you, propelled by some unknown force.
I guess I'll just keep moving forward.
Okay. All right. The ship jolts suddenly as a tractor beam or some kind of other, gravity control system gets a hold of it, and the tunnel-shaped object moves towards you, and eventually intersects, and so you're flying through it. And as you do, a web of light kind of fills the center of it, and it stops. You're in the middle, and there's no question that the ship is being scanned. There's like everything in the thing is gold. And Leviathan is like squinting against the light.
I'm just waiting. Just waiting.
Rex puts his hand on Basil's shoulder and kind of leans in, and he's like, "This is gonna be the Basil show, buddy. Pretty sure it's all robots. So do your thing, all right?"
Basil looks at him and pauses, and then has a moment of clarity and is like, "Are you sure that's what you want?"
And as that happens, I'm like, "Yeah, and take your damn bear." And as it says that, the bear like lets go of me and turns around and goes, "Daddy," and like walks towards him.
Basil picks up his son and says, "Fine, we'll do what we do."
Hey, you might get yourself a new body or something while you're at it.
Basil goes over to the control panel and starts doing, ridiculous robot like.
Yeah. Okay. So the scanning system that you're in, the security system now, is getting basically running a genetic scan on all of you. So I think that we see from Artemis's perspective, as you look over people, they have this kind of golden like light over them, and little pieces of information are appearing holographically around them, written in the complex script of the Mingasi. So when you look at for example, Luna, like it says, Chisarian, her approximate age, some other information about Luna, but it's all sort of biological like readings. Okay. So you're looking at her. You pass over. You look over at Leviathan, who scowls at you, like, "Stop looking at me." But her readout is the same thing. It says like a Garin and her age and some information about her physical condition. When it gets to Rex, it displays that Rex is a Sharkanoid, but there's some kind of error message in orange, like an amber message that basically says like genetic anomaly detected. And then has several recommendations of additional scans to perform. And lastly,
because he ate the prince.
So as you look around, you can see everybody, and you come back to seeing your own reflection in the window, and as it scans you, it confirms that you are Mingasi.
Hey, question.
Yeah.
Now that I have all this information about them, I've seen this. Yes, I can see this information, this readout.
Yeah.
Could they all see this readout as well?
Yeah, they can see it on each other, but only Artemis can read it.
Do I have knowledge of this information?
Being able to read Mingasi, I mean, you're older and more significant than you look, so maybe I would say it's possible or probable.
Okay.
Yeah. So the security system scans you, and a voice comes on over the comms and says, "Would you say your name was Princess Fauntleroy?"
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, a voice comes on over the comms. It's like a quiet. It's broken up by some crackling, some kind of damage in the system, but it says. "Welcome to Xanadu, Your Highness. I hope you'll find it to your liking." And then there's some more static. There's part of a like an imperative that whatever they say, there's a suggestion they do something, but you don't catch most of it. And then it crackles out, and you get a connection lost as the cylinder kind of drifts past you and off into the nebular space around you.
I hate you. I hate you for having Xanadu stuck in my head now, the song by Olivia Newton-John.
So yeah, as soon as the scan like it finishes, it seems like there's no, yeah.
Okay, I'll like the second that it seems like we're safe, I'll get up and just go like this and be like, I don't want to run this thing anymore. What are we doing?
She looks at the seat and looks at you, and then to Rex. Leviathan says, "I don't know. What are we doing, old man?"
Out of the way, kid.
Okay, so everybody moves out of the way.
Rex takes the helm. I mean, what are we doing? We're just driving into this thing? Is it like a docking?
I mean, there's no one thing. Like you're inside a small planetary system, right? There's at least 3 of these sort of floating, interconnected planetary objects. There's the sun, and yeah, and I mean.
So there's an ice world, a desert world.
Yeah, essentially, it's a bunch of like single biome planetoids floating around a star, but you're all too far. They have their own atmosphere and stuff, and they are connected, right? Like I was saying, the gravity is such that it's pulling water off of one and onto the other, right. But you don't. Yeah, I mean,
Rex kind of sits back,
planet.
Kicks his feet up, and he starts, "Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Catch a tiger by his toe. If he hollers, eat him." That one. Which one is that, Adam?
I don't know. I think what happens is as you're picking, you're like that one, and you point at it, and all of a sudden, the view screen and the ship's UI and systems all go dark. There's a flicker, and they all go off, and as your random objects in the ship start to float, Leviathan says to you, Rex, she's like, "What did you do?"
Rex just goes, "Not that one."
And now the ship is just kind of like floating, and outside I think we can see that it has drifted into one of these clouds, these sort of purple clouds, and there's lightning kind of jumping off of it onto the hull of the ship. And all of a sudden, the ship like shorted out or something. But inside, the emergency systems haven't come back on, and Leviathan has like grabbed onto a pipe on the ceiling, is holding herself in place as everybody else is trying to kind of float off the ground. The teddy bear floats by angrily.
I grab it and hold it. I'm just like, oh, what am I doing? I'm just so confused right now. No, I'm not confused. I'm just so disappointed. That's the word.
Yeah. So Leviathan's like, what happened? What's going on?
Rex kind of shrugs.
Everybody just kind of looks at each other like, I don't know.
I guess we just ride this out for a bit.
What do you mean we ride this out? We don't even know what caused it.
Right, like something bounces off your head. Yeah. Leviathan said, "Yeah, well, and on top of that, some of us need to breathe, asshole." And I think she pushes you out of the way to get access to a panel, which she opens, takes out a knife from her belt, and inserts it into some control thing and turns it sideways. The ship flickers slightly, and the emergency power system comes on. You still don't have gravity. But there's a bit of light that turns on in the ship, and you can see from where you're sitting at the pilot's console that the ship's batteries are like being drained, and that you're in some kind of energy field that seems to be damaging the ship's systems.
Okay.
Yeah, Leviathan looks at it, and she looks at you, and she's like, "Fucking nebulas! This always happens." I'm going into the back, and she kicks off and like floats down into the engine room somewhere.
Couldn't Basil do something? He's like a robot.
Basil looks at you like you are literally the craziest person in the galaxy.
Rex sees this and it's like, "Basil, don't." He just raises his hand as he's floating in the air. "Basil, don't. Let it go."
I'm getting as I'm like twisting around and like can't get my bearings at all. I'm like, I am really sick and tired of the way that I get treated in this group. Okay.
So you're just kind of like floating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So so what I mean, she's gonna go back and try to fix the ship. Is anybody gonna go help her, or are you just gonna leave this to Leviathan?
I'm not gonna help her. I don't know who she
I'm
is.
not gonna help her ass. Yeah, I don't. Actually, wait. Time out.
Uh-huh.
What is Penny's status?
Offline.
Oh no, you have to save
not
her.
Girlfriend.
Basil has a moment of realization and turns and, like, without saying a word, bounces off the hull and heads back towards I was about to call her Thuja. Oh my god.
It's hard to get the name Thuja out of.
Yeah,
I keep thinking
great
Thuja
name.
too.
Her name's Leviathan.
Yeah, heads back to Leviathan and is gonna try to help. Not because he wants to, because he's gonna. Just don't question this.
Okay. So when you get to the back, it's clear that whatever this nebula you've drifted into, whatever it's done, it's just overloaded the engines. There's the fuel systems are all like running at max. The batteries seem to be overloaded, and there's these like arcs of purple kind of light jumping from one place to another. It's pretty dangerous in there, but Leviathan has just sort of thrown herself into it, and she's she's got a tool that she's using to adjust something. She's doing some sci-fi stuff in the back, and when you come in, she looks over her shoulder and like brushes her hair or her face and says, she's like, I've never seen it happen this quickly before. I mean, we have shielding. This is a warship, but whatever's going on in here. Shakes her head. It's a lot of power. I wonder what they need it all for. Goes back to like hammering away at whatever she's fixing.
When she said, is she referring to the actual like location we're at, or the?
Yeah, like Xanadu. Yeah.
Basil just decides to start scanning systems and not respond to her comment.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So what do you want to do? What's your goal?
I want to figure out. Yeah. I want to figure out how to get the power back online.
Okay. Sure. Yeah. You can make a roll for that. She's helping. I guess if you're gonna work with her. Let's have you make a careful roll because you're just doing an analysis of the system. Okay, 0, like, it looks like everything I said before. Like, it looks like it's overloaded. You need to find a way to, like, either get out of the nebula or, like, shunt this power in some way. Because all the systems are operating at basically maximum capacity, and the batteries are too overloaded to work. They keep shutting off.
So we need to use power?
Like, maybe, yeah. I don't...
Can I what weapons do we have on this ship?
That's a great question.
I'm gonna use a stunt.
Okay. All right.
Rex is
so meanwhile
he closes his eyes, and he was in a similar situation like this once aboard his old ship with Hacker Jacker Quinn.
Cheater. You cheater.
They got stuck in a static space cloud, and the engine shorted. And Quinn was totally calm. And Rex was like, "Well, what do we do now? We're fucked."
Right. So it's Quinn and Rex on this ship, both deprived of gravity. Rex looking much younger and less calm about the whole situation.
Yeah.
Quinn, what was your response?
Rex is like speaking to the ship like it's his girlfriend. He's like, "Baby, come on, don't do this. Come on, baby."
Right, basically trying to get it to turn over.
Yeah.
It cuts back to Quinn, and he's ripped off a panel with one of his claws, and he starts like techno babbling. He's like, well, we need to reverse the polarity of the perpetual impulse generator and indicate the depolarized delta ray into the warp generator, and only then will the penetration drive activate, which will allow us to have resistance flux. And it's nonsense.
Sure.
But of course, Rex understands all this because it's his ship, and you just see a lizard man clawing and like wires flying out behind him.
You're trashing my ship. You're trashing it.
But whatever I'm saying is obviously working. And all of a sudden, all the lights come back on, and everything starts to work again.
Yeah, basically, there's that moment. There's that moment of Quinn holding 2 ends of a cable and going plunk, and then it goes bang, and then everything comes back on.
Yeah.
Okay, so Rex, you have this memory of that string of babble.
Start open again, and he like space swims out the room to where he thinks this component is in the ship. And
sure. Yeah. I mean, the penetration drive, as with all Agaran warships, is party in the front and business in the back. So the penetration drive is like kind of up at the top and like front area. So you can get there, no problem.
All right.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's where these two are, right? Because the engine and the driver are connected. And so when you get there, Basil is, I don't know, what are you doing, Basil, when old Rex shows up?
I'm in the back and just like.
Are you plugged into the system?
No, Rex kind of has like a flashback to Quinn a little bit, because I'm literally just mashing wires and ripping stuff out. And I'm like, when I'm broke, this is how I fix it. And I'm literally just like ripping things out of the ship.
Rex is like, no, you're onto something. Out the way. And he starts
flies away. Yeah. He just goes,
yeah.
Rex, instead of ripping out the paneling, he obviously uses his teeth to like replicate what Quinn did and start ripping out paneling and wires so he can try and find.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, you find what looks like the right cables. They seem approximately like the same ones
everywhere in the cockpit.
Yeah, and I think something like some piece of paneling hits Leviathan, and she turns around and sees the debris. She looks at you and she's like, "What the hell are you doing to my ship?"
Up.
Fucking hacker-jacker bullshit.
And he slowly brings the two cables together.
Little sparks.
Yeah.
The ship's all supercharged, and then you clunk them together. Well, let's see if you know how to do this.
Okay.
I think Quinn will give you the +1. And I think this is you being clever.
You can do this.
I'm gonna call it difficulty 4.
Okay.
Good luck. You can do it,
Got
clever
this.
boy. So whatever you roll, you get a +1 to it.
Okay.
No!
Okay.
0. Okay. Do you have an aspect you'd like to?
Let's use No, I fail.
Okay. All right. So as you're about to like plunk them together, Leviathan's like, "Don't do that. No, don't. Please don't." And then you go hit them together.
In fact, the last thing Rex says is, "Thank you, Quinn," and then he like puts them together.
Awesome. So you like hit them together. They plug in, and I mean the whole thing like feeds back. And what's so good about this is that you already have an aspect called shocking betrayal.
Yeah.
Just so good. So yeah, you're like, "Oh, my old friends are so reliable," and you plug it in. And I think that what happens is that all of the ship systems turn on and activate simultaneously. So you make a sudden micro penetration jump. All the weapon systems fire. So we see the outside of the ship. It disappears for a second, right? Drops into subspace. And when it pops back, missiles and lasers fly off of it in all directions. I think, which ignites part of the nebula. There's a big explosion. Everybody gets like, we do the next generation thing where it flies off to one side and then flies off to the other as the ship rocks. And the ship gets like thrown because of momentum towards one of the planetoids. So the ship is spiraling down. There's fire coming out of the back of it. What is everybody doing? You're on a crash course towards.
And I tried to, because I've basically just let myself float up to the ceiling.
Yeah, you're pressed against the back wall now.
Yeah, can I try to like push myself off and grab the controls and try to like steady us?
Climb up the deck. Yeah. But yes, yeah.
Wouldn't the gravity come back on?
It's not gravity. It's well, yes. So the gravity came back on for a second, which pulled everybody to the floor, and then you started flying forward as fast as you can, and now everybody's pressed up against whatever was behind them.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So you have to try to pull yourself away and like climb towards the front of the ship.
Okay. I want to try to do that.
Okay. All right. So what does that look like?
Can I assist? Like, if I see her coming, can I help assist her towards the front of the ship? Because I'm still in the cockpit. Like, I'm still just chilling here. Well, chilling against the wall.
I mean, as I say, you're not exactly chilling, but yes, you're in the cockpit. I think you were in one of the seats, so you're like pressed up against it. You're halfway there. So what do you do to help?
I'm gonna grab her and try to pull her, like towards the seats.
And the ship is like rattling and shaking and.
Oh, it's gonna be difficult, especially with the bear hugging me. But I'm gonna try and like grab her and like pull her towards the seat because I know that she needs to get to the seat because I'm not the pilot. I don't know what I'm doing.
Reaching out towards Artemis.
Yeah, I'm basically just like wall climbing, trying to get to the seat.
Okay. All right. So let's have you roll. I think it's forceful. I think it's just like one hand over the other, like trying to pull yourself towards it.
Yeah.
And Luna, you're giving help to Artemis, or you get a +1 on forceful. And I think your goal here is what? Like to get to the controls before something happens, or
before we have any kind of an impact. Yeah.
Right.
I want to try to steady us enough that we won't just like explode when we hit this planetoid.
That's pretty much what's happening. You're headed straight for it, like head on. Okay. All right. Yeah. So I think 3 is probably reasonable. 3 and forceful. Got that +1.
Okay. So I'll use.
You don't have to use anything. Oh, you got it 0. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Good.
You need at least 2 more.
Yeah. So I'll use Hopeful Mingasi Urchin because this is the first time that I feel like me being Mingasi has been helpful. And so I'm like, I can do this. Like I was just flying this thing. Like I can help. I can keep helping in this situation.
And it's like that moment in the movies where you see 2 hands reaching for each other, and you're like, "Are they gonna reach each other? Oh my god, are they? Are they?" And they slowly, and then it's like, "Oh,
yeah, totally."
The music, dun, 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 dun. You're like pulling her up. Yep. Okay, so that gets you to 2. Where else do you?
That'll give me to 3.
That's
you have the +1. That's right, from Luna's help. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So Luna pulls you up into the seat. And yeah, you can see the kind of burning nebular plasma around you as you hurl towards the surface of the like jungle planet.
Right.
I think at this point there's no avoiding a crash landing on that planet, but you could try to lessen the impact.
I want to minimize it. Yeah.
Yeah, you want to make it so you don't crash quite so hard and turn into a splatter on the wall. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Just a TPK. End of season 2, guys.
Yeah. Okay. So I think, I mean, how do you do it? What do you do? So we see you pull yourself into the seat, grab onto the thing.
Yeah, I like grab on, and I'm trying to think like, okay, what logically would be the way that I would try to, get the ship to stop spinning and try to, like do some of this action so that we can skid along the bottom when we hit instead of just like fucking nosediving.
Okay. All right. So
why are you shaking your head, Jesse?
This is gonna be great. This is gonna be so good.
Should have just died.
So good.
Should have just let everybody die.
I think in this case, I think it's quickness. I think this is like being able to react fast enough because it's not just pulling up on the stick. It's hitting buttons and deactivating the engine in time and like being fast enough to, because you're racing the impact basically. So yeah, let's see difficulty 3, quickness.
Okay.
It's like your best stat.
I know, it is my best stat.
It's looking bad. It's looking like you're gonna turn it into a splat. What are you gonna do? Spend them points.
I'll use a point on. I just want somebody to love. I can't let these people die. Literally the only people who will put up with me.
They can't love me if they're dead. All right. So what does that look like? You're gonna crash, and I'll describe the crash part, but you can describe Artemis's heroic, quick thinking action.
Okay. Yeah. He's so hungry. He's such a hungry boy. Yeah, I like grab on and I'm looking all over the place and I just see like error messages and stuff. I'm like, okay, never mind. And like in any good sci-fi thing, I just pull back really hard.
Yeah, of course.
That's the way to fix anything. Just
So you come in you come in on an angle, and I think you hit the atmosphere, and immediately the ship starts to sound heat alarms. You're Luna, you're right next to Artemis. You're seeing this on the screen. We see a shot from the outside as it breaks the atmosphere and starts to superheat as you're hurling towards the surface. And then you hit the canopy of all of these strange jungle trees. And I think that you clip one of the trees and spiral off one way, crash through a rocky outcropping with a waterfall coming off its water splashes everywhere, disappear down into the trees, and then we just see the like a big explosion from the planet. And the scene like fades, kind of on tense music, and then fades back in on a smoke cloud kind of coming up from the surface of the planet. The sounds of jungle, like animals, we can hear birds and other like strange jungle creatures. And we pan down across the smoke, fade to inside the canopy. There's broken trees. There's some fires burning. And while you were away, Sam, everyone died. We're just making new characters.
I mean, I think I died, right?
Everybody. He's just horrible dead.
All of us, we're all dead.
And so, we pan down and we can see the trail, the corridor of damage, all the broken off branches and the burned debris. And we pan down to a crater, and there is it's basically at the base of a cliff. You're kind of in a lake. There's this like greenish lake. There's water pouring down off of a cliffside above it, and the ship is lying kind of tilted sideways, jammed into the bottom of this crater, and all the water is kind of like flowing down over it, and there's a big cloud of steam coming up from the engine. So who is the first person that emerges from the wreckage? I mean, none of you are like hurt in the sense you don't have consequences, but feel free to like narrate your characters like post crash. But who's the first person that comes up out of the ship? Who's
I was buckled in and everything. And as we hit, I was knocked out for a little while, but then I have like this like fur hand or this fluffy hand just like slapping me. And I'm like,
right, so we see Luna and the little bear is like is hitting you in the face so you wake up.
Yeah, and I wake up like, what the oh my gosh, you need stop it. Stop. And I like
you wake up to this mangy like evil looking teddy bear, and he just looks at it and he's like, "You didn't die."
Yes, of course not. Why would I die? Did you want me to die? I'm like talking to the teddy bear now. And I unbuckle myself. I'm just like, and it's a little sore.
Yeah. So the front window, you turn and look at where Artemis is, and the front window, the windscreen is shattered, and there's water pouring down into it, and it's basically the cockpit is full of tree debris, like sticks and twigs, and there's a big pile of this debris basically where Artemis was sitting. Artemis, how do you do? Are you unconscious? You wake up. What happens?
I'm totally unconscious. Yeah, I got thrown.
So there's like a golden arm kind of like sticking out of the pile.
Yeah, I got like thrown out of the ship.
Okay, so maybe we can't even see you. It's just. All right. Okay.
That's
so
why
Luna,
the broken windshield is a.
I like it. Okay,
Yeah.
so Luna, you can't see Artemis anywhere. What are you gonna do?
I
might be the only survivor on the ship.
I reach into my bag, which is still around my waist, and I give myself a shot, and I wait a few seconds, and I'm just like, just shut up, I don't care, Bear, just stop. And then I suddenly the pain starts to fade a little bit. I'm like, okay, I can.
So when you're doing the injection, the little bear is like, the president says drugs are for losers.
And I put my hand over his mouth and clamp it shut. And I'm like, shh, mommy says shh.
It still talks because that's not how this bear talks.
Yeah, exactly.
That's okay. I still do it. I still no, shh. And I don't know how to deal with it because I've never been around kids. So I'm just like, stop it. Just stop talking.
Yeah. And so it's just like, winners don't do drugs. And you're just putting it away.
And I'm like, I am 2 seconds. When I count to 3, I'm going to kick you. Stop. Shh. And I'm out of it. My hair is a mess. And I'm just like, I don't know what's going on. So I immediately start to go back where I knew other people were in the ship. Mm-hmm. Go back to where I think Basil and them would be.
Okay. All right. So who is the next person that Luna finds on board, and what shape are you in when she does?
She sees Basil's legs sticking out of a pile of rubble.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So it's a twisted panel that's broken in, and you can see a sexy artificial man leg.
And as I look at him, oh, he'll be fine. And I go to look for someone else. Okay. He's a robot. He'll be fine.
Suddenly you hear, really? You're just going to leave me there?
And then you hear the
you turn, and to your right is the upper half of Basil, completely severed, and another pile of rubble looking at you with such total disappointment. Are you kidding me right now?
Yeah.
You were going to leave me.
And I look at him and I'm like...
There's a strange kind of semi-transparent white serum all over the place. Someone took a milk jug and splashed it around.
And I look at him like, are you really that disappointed in me?
He gives you a...
Right, with your torso.
If you insist. And I started to grab his legs out of the rubble, and I'm pulling to get them out, and pick rocks and throw them aside or pieces of metal and throw them aside if I can.
Okay. Yeah. So the sound of stuff crashing around, I think wakes Rex up. Rex, where you're in the back. You were the one that triggered this whole thing. What do we see when we see you wake up from the sound? There's a crashing noise that startles you awake.
Well, I think Rex blacked out upon this.
Oh yeah, totally.
So, yeah, Rex kind of holds his head he's like, oh.
And I look over as he gets up, and I'm like, a little help.
Oh.
Yes, Rex, it was terrible. We crashed. Help me.
Give me a sec.
Can I give him an adrenaline
Rex is he's literally seeing double. There's
the
two of you.
He's swimming.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well, your little friend's missing. I can't find her, and I'm back here, and your other friend, the robot friend, is in pieces, and you can't speak. That's great.
I'm fine.
Are you sure? You sound a little drunk now.
I'm good. Rex kind of shuffles to his feet and trips over some cargo because he's been launched all the way back into the cargo bay.
Yeah.
Pushes some boxes aside. Basil, where's your legs?
I point to them.
She has them.
All right. Well, let's get you fixed up. Can I pick up the torso?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right.
Be gentle. Be gentle. I am expensive.
I mean...
Not anymore.
You don't look great, buddy. I'll be honest. The staples have all peeled back again.
Oh, my face is rebashed in. And then there's like more up here, Bastion, as well. I'm even worse than I was before.
All right, can you handle this, and I'll find the kid, Luna.
You're leaving me with her. Oh dear God, Penny, help, please.
Rex kind of just steps over your two pieces and kind of like.
You hear a voice. You hear a voice, Basil. It says, Basil. Is that you, Basil?
Well, of course it's me.
I can't see you, Basil. It's so cold.
Penny, you couldn't see me anyway. You had no ocular sensors. Oh my God. You're not dying. That's not how this works, Penny.
Oh, good. Well, we crashed.
Yes. Oh, I'm very aware. Wouldn't you love to have a body right now?
I'm not sure. I mean, right now I have a lot of guns, though I seem to be disabled.
We'll fix that, I suppose. But first, I need to fix myself.
Oh, so you're just gonna fix yourself? So I don't need the help. I can go with him.
I meant you. Oh.
I'm just gonna fix myself, by which I mean fix me. Would you like to try to, Luna? Would you like to try to repair Basil? You do have a pretty good understanding of Basil's inner workings as a result of your just a gigolo.
What can I do? Can I use my stunt to learn something else about him?
By studying his innards?
He's technically like not disabled, but like I need to help him before he.
I mean, all his shit is out on the table, so yes.
Yeah. I want to use my stunt, and I want to learn something about Basil, in secret, maybe, because the other's not around. I'm like poking around. I'm poking all sorts of places that you don't want poked.
Would you stop that? Is like my hand flies up.
Listen, I need to get this right the first time.
You can try to carefully get an advantage. But yeah, Basil, if you're being a difficult patient and just kind of like flailing and being like, no, not that, plug the other thing in.
Yes.
You can roll to oppose. Okay.
I want to roll to oppose.
Okay.
So Luna, you're gonna roll. If you're using your stunt, you're rolling carefully, and you get a +2. Basil, I think you're. How are you opposing? What are you actually doing?
Just trying to get her not to mess around with my innards.
Just like being obnoxious and yeah. Okay, so you're gonna roll flash. Roll flash.
Okay. So I get +2, so that's a 5.
Mm-hmm. He's got a 5. Basil's got a 2.
Jesus.
So
do you don't want to spend any of your points or anything?
Me? No.
Oh, all right. So it's not. You're just like stop it, stop. But
yes,
she manages to learn something. Okay. All right. So let's see you. Yeah, you two can work that out. But let's have you make a roll to fix him.
Okay. So what would I roll for that? I mean, I'd assume I'm trying to be either careful or clever because I'm trying to put together a robot. By myself. Thanks. Rex.
Hopefully both. Can she roll both?
Okay, so are you trying to return him to normal function as before, or are you pulling some shenanigans?
No, I'm trying to just return him to normal. I'm not going to
put his legs back on his torso.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. So you have I think this is the same as before. You're doing this carefully, but you have Basil's. I'll give you 2. I'll give you 2 uses of that because you did just get you beat him in that roll. So
okay.
I think to fix him more or less to shape, let's call it difficulty 3 because they're meant to take a beating. They're reusable. So you got a 1, but you got 2. Yeah, you got 2 of these Just a Gigolo that you can use.
Yeah, I'm gonna use one of the Just a Gigolos just so I can get it to 3. And I return it like I don't try to make him look perfect. I don't fix his face. I just put him back together so he functions. And I'm like, there. Are you happy?
Well, so that's the other thing. If you want to, you can do better, right? You can succeed with style, and you can improve on him. You can make him better, right? So you could make him. You can fix him if you want to.
How about this? I propose something. I'm like talking to him, and I'm like, I can fix you completely, right? If you want. You have to stop fidgeting and stop fighting me.
Fine.
Then I do both uses of just a gigolo, and I fix them.
Right. Look at that. So we get the like you get to work, and the next time we see Basil, you can give us your like the Luna Kiara makeover version of how you look. And she's actually like pretty magical about this. So you're gonna look great. You can figure that out. So meanwhile though, Rex, you have a companion or two to find. What are you doing?
I do have two of them, yeah.
So what are you gonna do?
Well, he intends to look for Artemis first, because he just trashed a warrior woman ship.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a discussion he wants to have later, not now. So I guess he's just kind of like wandering through like the dense brush.
So you get up to leave the ship. You're like, all right, I can go find Artemis. We'll deal with Leviathan later. And I think that we see one of your spacesuit boots come down in a puddle of black blood on the deck as you head towards the door. And we hear a faint groan. We hear this like, ugh. And you look up, and the camera pans up and follows the blood. And we can see lying against one of the walls, we see Leviathan. She's got this huge metal piece of debris sticking out of her stomach. Like she's been impaled, and she's like holding onto it. And she looks up and looks at you. And it's hard to tell how she's doing because she's just like, pale all the time. And she just kind of looks at you, and she's like, ugh, where are you going?
Rex kind of whistles out loud. He's like, you gonna live?
She looks at it and she's like, I hope so. It hurts pretty bad.
I'm gonna find a kid. Luna.
She shakes her head and she's like, I'm pinned. Help me get this thing out. And you can see she's actually like, it's got through her and she's like stuck to the deck.
All right. Okay. I'm just making a strength roll.
I don't think you have to roll. I think you can yank it out.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So Rex does the old. All right. I'm gonna pull out on 3.
Okay.
1, 2, and then rips out on 2. Yeah.
Yeah. So everyone on board hears a scream. I think even like outside, you can hear it. And then we get back to her, and she's holding the wound. There's blood bubbling up through her fingers, and she's like, there's another number that comes after that, right?
Yeah, but people always tense up, and then it just trust me.
She puts her hand out to you. It's covered in blood. She's like, help me up.
He helps her up.
Okay, you pull her up, and she takes her hands out. And when she moves her hands away, there's like visible like blood like squirting. And she's like, I think I punctured my lung.
Do you have like a first aid box?
She kind of looks at you and she shakes her head. She's like she doesn't understand what those two words mean.
He's just like, all right, okay, I got it. Luna.
I'm kind of busy over here.
Yeah, this is more important. I need you over here.
I finished like playing with Basil's hair. I'm like, okay.
Right, like, you got a hairspray now.
Yeah. Awesome. I finished. And then I like, okay, are you good? Are we good? Okay, I'm gonna go. Here, you can have I don't care bear. Here, he's yours.
As she stands up to leave, the reflection on the bulkhead in front of him is that of a very similar looking space elf. And he realizes that she has remade him in her image. And all you hear is the echo of, what the fuck? And then it cuts to her leaving.
So I walk in, and I'm like, you need my help?
Yeah, I need you to deal with that. And I point at like a little squat of...
Yeah.
As he points to her, I'm like, you want me to kill her?
Yeah.
Just kind of sneers at you.
Is that a yes or no? I can't tell. No one said anything. I like look at Rex. I'm like, and I begin to reach for like a gun. Like, so.
What the fuck? No, what? I need you to seal and cauterize the wound.
It was a yes or no question. You didn't say anything, so I assumed it was a yes. So, okay, right. What do you think's happening? What happened here?
She'll kill you even like that.
So she looks at you and she says, whatever happened in the crash, I took a pretty bad hit. And she looks at, there's this 1.5 meter long bloody spike that was just through her. She's like, it hurts pretty bad. I got some stuff going on. And she like takes her hand away and there's more like blah. She's like, just need to get a little dizzy here, Doc. You just sort of close this up for me.
She doesn't have a med bay because all she does is kill. So I need you to help her. Okay, and I'm going to find the kid.
I look at her. I look at Rex. I look at her. I look at Rex, and I'm like, you realize I'm a chemist, not a doctor, right?
You are the closest thing to a doctor on this ship.
Okay, so.
Get Basil to help you. Just take care of it.
As he walks away, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna think. And the closest thing I can think to is that something that would regen her skin would be one of my concoctions I made to look like myself. Like, and so I look at her. I'm like, okay, this shouldn't hurt. I don't know if it hurts, actually. I didn't get to talk to the person that used it last, but I'm going to try something, and hopefully this works on you. But I need you to sit down and be quiet.
She like squints at you. She's
There's gonna be 3 fucking Lunas on this ship.
Yeah, looks at Rex. She's like, I don't know about this. Like maybe I'd rather just bleed to death.
You're gonna die. This will probably it'll. Just sit down.
She sits down and she looks at you and she says, do you know much about, and as you're like getting ready, she's talking to you, she's like, do you know much about Agarans?
As she says that, I just stab her in the neck with the needle and inject it into her.
Okay, so you stab her and I think she grabs your wrist as you do it.
And I'm like, oh God, don't kill me.
And she looks at you and she's like, if this doesn't work and I feel like I'm gonna die, I gotta take somebody with me. And you're the closest person. And she just like grabs your wrist and stares at you while it starts to take place. So
and I'm like, wow, so romantic.
I mean, kind of is. Let's have you roll to see what happens. And I think you're using this. This is clever for sure because it's like quick thinking. You're not using it for its intended purpose. Let's see. Your intent here is to like prevent her from dying, right? You want her to whatever else happens.
Basically, what I want is when she turns into me, it regens the what is it? The hurt parts of her. Because it's transforming her into me, and her body into me. So it's gonna like regen those parts. Right. And even if it doesn't perfectly transform her because it's too busy repairing that, then that's fine. She'll just look like a weirdo for a while. So.
Okay. Yeah. So, but the healing is the thing. If you get your roll, she won't die. Okay.
She'll be healed. Yeah.
All right. Let's call it difficulty 4.
Okay. Oh God. Okay.
But it's clever. It's a good start.
Oh.
Yeah. There you go. All right. So for a second, you stab her in the neck, and for a second, the two of you, it's like looking into a mirror, right? Like her features warp and shift, and you can feel her squeezing your wrist, and she's like, you can see her ears get all pointy, and sometimes she's just like halfway to you. It's all very like John Carpenter, like The Thing kind of mutation. And then she goes back she reverts, her system processes it, and she turns away from you, lets go of your throat, and she throws up violently on the floor next to her. And it's whatever she's just like thrown up, it's like a wet kind of organ looking thing. And it's just lying on the floor. She looks at you, takes her hands away. She's like, well, seems to have worked. Looks at the thing on the floor. She's like, yeah, that's 1 down. I only got 4 left. Shrugs.
Does she look at me now?
What's a little punctured lung between friends? No, she looks like herself.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
And I just sort of like, interesting. Okay. So I've just learned something else about my serum, which I'm like, okay. And I don't say anything. And I just as I get out of her grasp or whatever, I'm just like, good then. And I just turn around and walk out.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So she kind of wobbly a little bit. She like gets up and she looks at you, Rex, because I assume you were nearby for this.
No, Rex literally walked
you
away
left. Okay, so she grabs her she grabs like a spear off of the wall, a big metal Garan like hunting spear, grabs it off the wall and jumps out into the into the jungle and heads off after you. So you left a minute ago and you start heading out into the jungle looking for Artemis, right? That was your plan?
Yeah, I'm just calling her name out loud.
Okay. So Artemis, where does Rex find you right away, or what do you envision for this situation?
This is gonna be that scene where you see like the face, eyes are slowly opening, and then the camera twists and you realize that she's hanging upside down from a tree.
Yeah. Awesome. By your cloak.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. So I think there's like a tree branch that's sticking out of the cliffside where the waterfall is, and so we can see this green, like bright green water coming up over the waterfall, splashing down into the pool where the ship is, all the steam coming up, and there's some tree branch like kind of growths coming out of the side of it, and you're hanging from one of those several meters up in the air over this pit. And I think that let's get a minute from you before Rex shows up. What do you do as you wake up?
I panic a little and then I realize if I panic too much, I might just fall.
So it's like kind of like you move a little and then the thing kind of like creaks and you slip.
So I'm kind of just sitting like this and slowly just kind of like rocking back and forth. Like, hello?
Okay.
Is anybody around?
So up above you hear a sound. You hear like a low like thump and then another thump, and everyone like you jolt a little bit and you can hear this like getting louder.
Hello?
So you're like hello, and you shout again, and it gets louder. And up above you, at the top of the cliff, maybe 2 or 3 meters up, we see an enormous head come out over the edge. It's like a dark purple, big snout, huge teeth, and it has a row of eyes down its snout. And then a cluster of feathers off the back of its head. And it's enormous. Its whole head is the size of you. And it just peers out over the edge and looks down at you with this row of eyes that all kind of like move around and look at you. And it opens its mouth and steaming green fluid like drips out. Some of it like lands on your face, like slides off of you. And it hisses and a big long tongue like flicks the air where you were hanging.
Please don't eat me. Please don't eat me. Please don't eat me. Please don't eat me. Please don't eat me.
So maybe that's the last scene of this part, and we'll take a break here, and when we get back, we'll see if Rex can save Artemis from the giant space Tyrannosaurus that you seem to have found yourself in the presence of. Stick around, everybody. We got lots more RollPlay Nebula Jazz coming at you after the break.